Welcome to episode 61 of the Whatnauts review show, where every week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, anime, manga, comic book, audio drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, and then we come back here and we talk about it.
Hell yeah, we do.
We certainly do every time. We never don't talk. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by Kyle Springer.
Howdy.
Kyle, how are you this week?
I am good. I am feeling well rested, and it is E3, so I am like a kid in a candy store. I'm super excited about all of this stuff that is happening right now. So
That does sound nice. That sounds like a treat. I'm sure I will be the same in a couple weeks whenever the Disney conference comes up.
yes, D23, right? That's
Yes, that's
yeah.
what it's called. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's happening in August.
It's sometime in the summer. I will have to double check.
The only reason I know about it is because rumor has it that Marvel will be announcing all of their next stuff at that.
I sure bet. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. That's the one thing that I'm gonna pay attention to. You'll be like, Kyle, let me explain all the D23 stuff, and I'll be like, Melissa,
Look what new snacks they're gonna have at Epcot, Kyle.
Melissa, here's the only thing that matters.
I don't want to hear about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway Ride.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But take it away, Melissa. What are we talking about this week?
This week, we are talking about the movie Serenity. This is the 2019 movie about Matthew McConaughey on a boat, not the 2005 movie about Nathan Fillion on a spaceship. This isn't the Firefly Serenity. This is a new movie called Serenity.
It's just right off the bat. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you name it the same thing?
That is kind of bonkers. Like, it's not that huge of a movie, but it is kind of a cult classic.
It's one of those things of like PR, SEO nightmare. Like, why would you name anything the same thing?
It's such a generic name also to begin with. Like, it's so forgettable. Like, I was trying to remember this. I'm like, the Matthew McConaughey boat movie. It's not a plot intrinsic word. They very easily could have called it something else.
Absolutely, yeah. It makes no sense to me. Baffling. Baffling. PR, SEO nightmare.
I don't get it. But there's a lot of things about this movie to not get. I pitched this because I didn't know anything about the movie. I saw a trailer once. I'd heard that it had a bonkers twist in the movie, and I didn't know what it was, just that there was a twist. So I pitched this to you, and you decided to come along for the ride.
And oh boy, was there a twist. And this was a ride for sure.
Yeah.
This was wild.
The basic plot synopsis is that Matthew McConaughey is his character's name is Baker Dill.
Baker Dill.
Leave in your head that that's a real name. He's this fishing boat captain. He has tourists who pay him to take them out on sea fishing adventures off this little island where they live. But he's obsessed with catching this one tuna. This is like his Moby Dick thing. I have to catch that one tuna. It's named Justice also. Justice is the name of his kid. I will get justice. And he's strapped for cash. He's trying to do anything he can just to keep his boat afloat to catch that tuna. And his ex-wife wanders back into his life. And she says, "That man I left you for, turns out that was a very bad decision. I'm in an extremely rough place. I've brought my new husband here as a fishing adventure. He loves to fish. He doesn't know you're my ex-husband. I want you to push him off the boat and make it look like an accident.
How about a little murder?
How about I give you $10 million and me and our son will remain safe?"
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of the big crux of the movie. Even the hey, we want you to murder this guy doesn't even really happen until the end of the first act.
Yeah, there's a lot of atmosphere and setup that goes into this before that even happens.
Yeah, but that's the main
That's
Yeah,
basically all we
that's
can tell you before getting
basically
any
it.
further into
So
it.
I don't think I have anything really to add, but yes, let's get into general impression and just what did we think of this film as a whole? Because oh boy, this was this is kind of why I picked it. The way
Yeah.
you described it was there is a twist in this film, but it isn't one of those films that you need to watch necessarily for the twist and be like, oh my goodness, like he saw dead people the whole time, or it's not that. It's not that. It's there's a twist, and when it happens, everything goes off the rails. Like this just it just stops being
like,
a good movie.
That's what I heard. Like, it just completely morphed what the story was even about.
Yeah. And so that really piqued my interest. And I was like, huh, that sounds like it'd be really fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So I picked that one. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing, too, because I'm expecting it. Like, I'm expecting this twist, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it just... Nope. Didn't even think of it. It's just like that was it? That was the twist? This is wild. This is bananas.
It is the weirdest possible twist to pair with what the rest of the movie is.
Yeah,
which
is why I didn't think of it.
Exactly. I will say that the twist itself is not anything that crazy.
Mm-mm.
It's just, what is it doing in this movie?
Yeah. You don't belong here.
Exactly. It's an interesting time for sure. I recommend it if you just want some really wild thing to just laugh at.
If you just want to watch a train wreck.
Yeah.
This is good for that.
Beautiful train wreck. Like, it's set on the beach, on the ocean. The scenery is beautiful. If you want a train wreck and eye candy together, you can go to Serenity.
And some good actors.
Yeah.
Dude, this film has some good actors. It has Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway,
Simon Hansu. Yeah. I love whenever he shows up in something.
Yeah. And it's just like, by all means, this should be a great film. Just, how?
How indeed. Okay, I think we've reached the limit of anything we can say before we hit the spoiler barrier.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping.
Yes, indeed. Melissa, do you want to start it off with good omens?
Yeah, on our other feed, we have a feed called The Reactor Core, where we talk about brand new entertainment, like the weekend it comes out. And usually we've been doing, Kyle and I both go see a big blockbuster movie and then come back and talk about it. This time we tried something different. I watched all of the Amazon Prime new streaming show Good Omens, which is based on a book I really love. And Kyle didn't. So it is me explaining this thing to Kyle, who you watched half a trailer.
Yeah. And it seemed to work. It seems like an interesting show.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys should go check that out if you have watched that series. Again, that is up on our podcast called The Reactor Core. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we were recording when I mentioned it, but there has not been a new episode of the Captain's Log just yet. E3 has just started, so I was thinking of maybe going through like a recap of that first weekend, the Microsoft conferences and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully that should be up Monday night. Fingers crossed. Last week, what did we cover last week on this show?
We watched Flavors of Youth.
Yes, that's right.
A very different movie than this one.
Yeah. That was an animated anthology film, all focusing. We kind of claim it all focuses around the theme of youth.
Yeah, it's about like adults looking back on their childhood or wondering if the youth that they have now is going to disappear from them. What does it mean to be young? What does it mean to look out with wonder and love on the world?
Yeah. And that was created in part by the same studio that made Your Name, the hit anime film that I think won a bunch of awards and I still haven't seen. So
we'll both get to it. I haven't either.
One day. That is about it for now on housekeeping. I still feel like I've been mentioning it for like 2 months now, but we'll have an episode, an exclusive episode of the Whatnauts review show on our Patreon very, very soon here about Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. Yes. We've already covered Season 1 on a public episode. I don't remember the exact number, but it is back there. You can scroll through our feed.
Yeah, it was the last handful of months.
Yeah. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support our show. You can get access to the live streams. It
was 47.
Episode 47. Okay, so almost, that's good 15 episodes ago or so. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us for a single $1. You can get access to these live streams. You can get all our episodes early. For the $3 tier, that is where you can get those exclusive episodes. All of the exclusive content we do will be at that tier. And at our $5 tier, we want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to our Patreon sponsors at that tier. So thank you to Sam and Christine for helping keep the mics on. Keep the lights on.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it helps us out a ton. Very much so. So we are super thankful for all of that stuff. But I think that is it for housekeeping, unless you can think of something else.
No, I think it's time to dive into the ocean.
There we go.
Really talk about this dang thing.
Exactly. So we are in our spoiler territory from here on out. So if you have not seen this film, I guess go check it out. This is a hard one to recommend and be like, watch this film. You should actually watch it. But
I don't know if it's so great as a film, but it's a neat experience. Like, I sat there, I knew it was an ocean movie, so I had some seafood pasta, I had a big glass of wine, I lit a candle that smells like the ocean. Like, I'm just gonna immerse myself in this weird world.
Sounds good. So yeah, we are in spoiler territory now. Can you believe that Dumbledore died in the film? Wow,
I can't believe he was back, and then, Snape killed him here also. Like, they're the constants throughout every story.
Yeah, so where do you even want to start with this?
Okay.
Should we just start with the twist?
I want to ask, at what point you started thinking something is weird? What were your, show me your progression of what you thought it was going to be.
Sure. So I was always expecting something. I knew something, like something here is not right. I need to figure out what is not right or why it's not right. I think the first scene where it was like, okay, I think that's the first hint, was when you see the sales representative for the first time, the guy in the suit, and he just has this very almost like X-Files feel to him, where he seems like he's either like a robot or an alien, just like something is odd about him.
The second he shows up, he is not a normal human. There is something inhuman about that man, even if what he is doing is fairly normal. There's something about his entire vibe,
his
coming off of him.
What he's talking about. Yeah, it's just, what is up with that guy? And so so that just in the back of my mind, I'm like, I like that is giving me X-Files or Fringe, like maybe it's some kind of sci-fi thing happening, and then the movie kind of stays pretty normal beyond that.
Yeah,
for a while.
That's your first taste of weirdness.
Which and that
then
happens
it kind of
within the
backs
first 5 minutes of the film or so, I think. But yeah, then you don't really get much else that's too strange beyond that. But it's one of those things of like, okay, well, I know a twist is coming, so what is going on here? And then we start to see stuff about this kid. Then we start to see him just more around town and stuff. And I was like, huh, what if it's like some weird metaphorical tale about how Matthew McConaughey's character is also the kid, but he's also that old guy in the bar. Like they're all him.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Because there's like when he first goes to the bar, he buys the old man a drink, and then we see him once again later in the film where the camera like focuses on him and just like just shows him, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we even showing him? And so I was like, huh, I wonder if it's some weird like almost time loop thing where he's so obsessed with catching this big tuna, and it's this thing that haunts him, but the tuna is really a metaphor for something else. And here he is when he's younger, and that's what started it, and here he is when he's older, and it's just he's this jaded, like good for nothing because it didn't happen, or he knows what is going to happen. So that's what I was thinking it was going to be. And then Anne Hathaway shows up, and that's not even the twist, but she's like, hey, you want to murder my new husband? I don't like him. And it's like, okay, so it's this crime noir film, so it's a mystery. Okay, so maybe not exactly as sci-fi as I thought.
It's not really a mystery because
yeah.
Oh, it's a mystery to us, the audience, because we know something weird is going on. I don't know if it's a mystery to any of the characters actually in the story. It's just like the question is he going to kill the husband or not? There's not like a puzzle to solve.
Yeah. And it's when that happens, which I feel like is the end of the first act, is when the weird things start kicking up a notch. Then we start getting a little bit more about the kid and what's happening there. The townspeople are all really strange. They seem a lot more normal than that weird salesperson.
Yes.
But everyone knows everyone's business to the point where it's like, you weren't there when I had that conversation, or that isn't even something I told anyone, like wasn't even like physically said.
Like, this is a little island. You can believe, oh, there's town gossip. It travels around fast, but it's too much information too fast.
It's like, okay,
it's
I can
really improbable.
Understand if you're asking who the new woman is, but like when you're like saying things like that we said in private, like, how do you know that when she's over here, she's never spoken to you? What is going on? And yeah, so at that I kind of was like, okay, now I'm now I'm lost. I don't really know what the twist is or what it's going to be, because it doesn't really feel like what I thought it was. But then there's that one scene where Matthew McConaughey, I can't even say his name, Matthew McConaughey, where his character like wakes up and spills the water.
Yes.
And they're like, him and the kid are like touching the puddle of water in the same way, and it's really creepy. And so I was like, maybe it is what I thought. They're like the same person somehow, or it's alternate universes, or I was like, I don't know what's going on. This is stupid now. But yeah, and then I mean, there's not much more to it than that besides like explaining what the twist is.
This is what my journey was. I could tell there was something up about the place where we were, and I kind of like what they did with that island in that you really can't place it. And this will vary from audience member to audience member, but it's in that kind of gray area where, am I really not supposed to know where this is? Are you purposefully hiding like where this island is from me? Or is this a real island and I just don't know geography?
See,
like,
is
this my own cluelessness, or are you making me clueless?
Yeah, like I just most movies that are set on some little small fishing island, I'm not gonna know the name of it. Like
It
it's one of those things of
distracted
like,
me a lot trying to figure out where it was for like the first chunk of the movie before I started to kind of piece together.
to me
I
it's
don't
like the
think I'm supposed to
townspeople.
know.
To me, it's like the townspeople. Like, okay, I can see them
Mm.
having that gossip. Okay, it's a small fishing town. I can see me not knowing the name of it or where it is on Earth and stuff like that. Like that was believable to me.
Mm.
And then there's the radio
Yeah.
broadcast, which struck me as odd too.
Yeah, and
It had
it like
some strange
everything
things.
just labeled it. The little island town is called Plymouth. And
Mhm.
whenever you see like the radio pop up on his little like electronic reader in his car, or like you hear the DJ talking, it is always referred to as just Plymouth Radio. Like
Welcome to Plymouth Radio.
there's no other call numbers or anything. Like it felt like such a facade. Like everything in the town felt like, when they just build a flat for a high school
Yeah,
play. And
yeah.
like there's,
That that almost made me think of like Truman Show style stuff.
Mhm.
Like, what if this guy's being watched? Like, this radio thing seems fake. The people know everything. He seems to be the only one that doesn't like know any of this stuff. What if it's something like the Truman Show?
Yeah, or maybe he's really on the run from something and this is some giant elaborate sting to like catch him.
Yeah.
Like everybody is undercover. The radio is undercover. Who knows? And then he
The
starts
covers
talking
are undercover.
and then he starts talking about how he thinks he has a psychic connection with his son, which I bought. Like, yep, that really seems like that's what's going on. And I think it's about here where we do have to jump into the rules.
Oh, explain.
When the salesman, so throughout the movie, the salesman, this weird guy, this X-Filesy guy in the suit is like trying to get to Matthew McConaughey and he keeps missing him. He can never catch him.
Mhm.
So he has to like wait outside his shack of a house in the middle of the night because he's like, it's storming. You
Yeah.
don't have anywhere else to go. You're not going back on the boat in this weather. You're stuck here. You have to talk to me. And he's trying to sell him this fish finder device. And it's like, why were you going so far just to sell him this thing? And it turns out. Okay, so we've been watching every time Anne Hathaway mentions the sun, you see the sun. And back in the room, at their mansion in Miami where her and like the terrible new husband live. And he's there playing this computer game that is a fishing simulator.
Yeah.
I
noticed that and I was like, that's strange.
Yeah. And there's that scene towards the beginning where he's like, I have to go take a shower, and he strips off all his clothes and he jumps into the ocean.
Yeah, there's a lot of Matthew McConaughey naked in this film.
Yeah, lots of butt in this movie. No front views, but lots of butt. He's walking across the grass to get to that cliff, and the camera is moving around him in the weirdest way. And I knew this feels video gamey to me. Like, what a weird piece of cinematography. You don't naturally do this in a film. This means
happened
something.
Once before with a different character. I think when I think it was when Anne Hathaway first showed up. I
think so.
Could be wrong, but yeah, it happened once before. So it's one of those things. Yeah, it felt video gamey, but it was or just unnatural somehow. I think how I would describe it, but. It was something that's like, I mean, I guess I can't really say it without spoiling the twist. So let's just go ahead and spoil it since we already are in spoiler territory. Turns out this is a video game.
Yeah.
That the kid made. Yeah. And it's one of those things that was like, I didn't think it was a video game partly because of stuff like the camera, where it's like, okay, this is focusing on multiple, like this is a thing that happened on multiple characters. Usually a video game will focus on one.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess I just mean that in the sense of like, who's your main character?
Yeah.
Right? You know? So like that stuff just didn't really cross my mind, especially with the like crime noir aspects. It's kind of this gritty, atmospheric kind of story, and it's actually like that first half of it is great. It's a really good film. I mean, I can see if you're not into like crime noir stuff, that you wouldn't get some of the cheesiness here and there in some of the lines, but beyond that, like, it's a perfectly fine film. And then it's a video game? What? Why?
Exactly. Like, surprise, you're really inside a video game is not that wild of a twist across movies in general. But that's such a sci-fi thing. This movie had nothing like that up to that point. There was barely any technology. Like, the most techie you get is that he's got that, like, little installed sound system in his car, and Anne Hathaway mentions, like, oh, I tried to look you up on Facebook. Like, that's as techie as this thing gets. Like, it just feels so completely incongruous to the themes and the setting and the tone of everything else that's been happening up to that point.
It's so wild, and it's like, yeah, as you said, it's not even something that is that like hard to comprehend or like, oh my goodness, I get it now. You know, like it's not that. It's just like, wait, why?
It's like they took two halves of different sandwiches, and they're both great sandwiches. Like, oh yeah, got my peanut butter banana toast and a Cuban, and now I'm gonna make that one sandwich. I will say that as soon as we see the kid playing all the video games, like, I think the second time they show it, I'm like, okay, this is it. But I had believed him and his dad have this kind of really strong psychic connection. And this kid, like, he misses his dad. He's playing this fishing sim because he misses being with his dad. He made his character kind of like his dad. He believes in game dad so much that the gameplay is affecting real life dad. I had believed all the way up until the end that Matthew McConaughey was real and alive. I thought it was him inside a video game world. I did not see until they reveal it that, oh no, he is entirely false. He died years ago. The son reprogrammed his dad into the game.
Because it's also one of the, since I mentioned E3 and I'm super excited about all the more video game news. I know a lot. No, I don't know a lot, but I like hearing about video game development and all that, like all of those news stories and all of that stuff. So I have somewhat of an idea of what it's like. Not in the sense of like I've worked it and stuff, but just I pay attention to some of that stuff more than most people do. And that's not how video games work. And it's just like,
no, I don't think so. And like, we never see him in any kind of like,
that kid would be a fucking prodigy if he was able to make that kind of game.
He's just typing code. Like, he's never in any kind of like a visual design program or anything. He's not like doing anything in Illustrator or a CAD program or anything like that.
Any kind of like 3D modeling stuff.
No animation. He's just like typing code. He looks like a hacker.
Yeah,
like in any other movie.
Does the thing where it shows his face and then it has like, it's like you're inside the computer
like the
screen and you can see the
translucent, you can see the code over his face. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's one of those things of like, I don't know if they understand what video games are or how they're made, or like, just like, even if this is the like, if you wanted to make a story about how that is the twist of like, there's this character on an island and he thinks he's real, you think he's real, but it turns out he's a video game character. Like, that's actually Sure, like you can
Yeah,
make that story. That's
that
a totally
sounds
fine
normal.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like I don't think that is the story they were trying to make. Like
Yeah.
I almost feel like they were trying to make a murder mystery crime noir type of thing, and
Exactly.
then like, oh, we should make it have a twist, and then they looked at everything they had and like was like, okay, well that one's too obvious, that one's
Yeah.
too
You mentioned that the
metaphorical, people
son
aren't
plays
gonna,
video
yeah.
games.
What
Oh,
if
how
it's all
about
a
that?
video game? Oh my
Yeah, it
god.
definitely sounds like
Kids
they
play video
didn't.
games. What's that game? Fort Fight? What's that? Fort Fight? Something like that. Yeah, that one.
Hmm.
And then they're just like video games.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they didn't take the twist and work backwards to design the rest of the movie. They had a movie designed and then they had a whole labeled twist and they picked video games to kind of plug
I
into that
feel like
hole.
they took it randomly out of a hat and was just like, and the twist
Okay.
is video games.
Sorry to all our other contenders, aliens, robots, werewolves.
But if you speak to Cindy at the back door, she has door prizes.
Congratulations, Merman. You get a $5 gift card as your consolation prize for not being the twist we
Even
picked.
that would have been more believable.
Merman,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man, but like yeah, it's wild how they like and so this is written, directed, and produced by Stephen Knight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess we forgot to mention that at the
Yes.
top
Thank
of the episode. He's actually done a couple things that I don't mind. I kind of like.
What else has he worked on?
He worked on Peaky Blinders for Netflix,
Okay.
and he
These
worked
are
on Taboo
names.
for FX, which was an FX original show starring what's his name, Tom Hardy.
Okay.
That was a really weird one. That was really atmospheric. It's very slow. It's not for everyone, I don't think, but it was very high quality. If that makes sense. I really like Peaky Blinders though on Netflix. That show's fantastic. Or I guess I've only seen the first like 2.5 seasons, something like that. I think there was
so
4 or 5
much.
total.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that show was that long.
But yeah, that show is fantastic. And I highly recommend it. He's also one of the creators of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
What?
Yes.
You know what? Sure. Like, if we're already dealing with wild twists, yes, you also created Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
And apparently, he also wrote the screenplay for World War Z 2.
Huh.
I guess whenever that sequel comes out, I don't know. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page here now, but like he's not. It doesn't seem like he's a new writer or a bad one. Like he writes some good stuff, and I think the first part of this film really shows that it's a totally competent film.
Yeah, there's some weird stylistic choices, some clumsy dialogue, but on the whole, it makes sense as what you would think this kind of tropical psychological thriller noir kind of story would be.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So yeah, the cat is out of the bag. The whole thing is a video game.
A video game.
But part of the weird thing is that it seems like the game is fighting against itself.
Yeah, I thought it's preposterous, but it's kind of interesting. And that the kid who designed the game, I think his name's Patrick,
I don't remember.
He designed it to be because he's in such a terrible home environment,
Yeah.
He designed it to be a very safe place. Like, there's no murder, there's no violence. Like, the world of the game is a safe, just fishing sim, basically. And then he decides he wants his stepdad dead. So he wants Game Dad to kill the stepdad. And so that kind of breaks every other rule he's set for it in the game. And the game has like enough sentience to fight back. Like, you're not killing that man. We will do everything in our power to convince you to just go on an innocent fishing trip instead of killing that man.
Which also doesn't, because if he is the creator of that game, he can change it to whatever he wants. Like
Yeah, it's so like I wish they established more of okay, if he was so it's kind of a like can God create a rock so heavy even he cannot lift it? If he's such an incredible programmer, why can't he reprogram what he already did?
or just make a new game.
Yeah, yeah, why can't he just copy
Like
all the
why?
notes
Like
over into a new
just
file?
make fishing sim with Dad too, and it's actually not a fishing sim. It's a first person shooter where you have to go murder the stepdad. Like it's so weird. Like they put weird constrictions on themselves in this film, and it's just like why?
I don't understand like what rules it is playing under.
Not at all. But I thought that it was like that is almost. I mean, that's another thing. That is an interesting conceit by itself. I could almost see that being the case if this was not a game that he made and he's trying to mod it and like add in certain things that aren't supposed to be there. But no, he made the game, so it just.
And like he's this kind of revered creator to the game, but they don't have like they know they are created and they don't know who the creator is, but Matthew McConaughey knows who the creator is. So the rules, man, and this is my favorite part in the entire movie, where that guy in the suit just says, "I am the rules."
Yeah.
That's like the craziest thing that happens. I love it. Like he's like, "No, it's me. I am the embodiment of the structure of the game, here to steer you back on course. I'm going to make everything go the way the game was originally designed. Forget the new designs. Like, I respect my mysterious creator, but he's not allowed to have anybody die. Like, that. I'm not going back on his first law just because he wrote a second law."
Yeah. But like I liked once we saw that kind of happening, I really liked that element though.
Mm-hmm.
That being because it's yeah, like he's like, no, you need to find the fish. Here's our brand new fish finder. You know, they go to the store to get lures and stuff. And it's like, hey, you can have these ones for free. You know, the sales rep gave me these things. They want you to test them out. You know, there's the kid who he offered a job to that showed up.
That kid just walks out of nowhere, and suddenly there he is.
Walks out of the field. I'm ready to fish. It's like, what? Who are you?
And I like that what I've seen, like these just sort of normal, innocuous, practical interactions with the locals, suddenly they become NPCs. Like he doesn't just go talk to the lady at the shop. She is the video game role of shopkeeper to fill out your inventory.
Yeah.
I kind of like that turn. Yeah.
And it's just left and right. There's all of these things happening that are pushing him towards this one, and I kind of like that because yeah, we get the kind of connection to the big tuna, the big katuna, as I like to call it, and it immediately makes you think of oh god, brain fart. You said it.
Moby Dick.
Yeah, Moby Dick.
Yeah.
And it's like the connection is immediately there, and it is this thing of like, oh, we kind of want you to get this way. Like that's the goal of this film. Like you need to get that. So I can understand when everything is thrown for a loop. That it's like, no, we had a goal. Go back to that goal. You know?
Like we weren't done catching Justice, the tuna.
Justice. Where is he? But yeah, like this film is so frustrating.
It is. I would pick one thing or the other. Like I said, it looks like two different films jammed together. And I almost wanted, once it went into video games, I wanted it to get even wilder, like get more video gamey. Like have somebody in the background just continually walking into the wall, have him look up into the sky and he can
Have you
see a
seen
health
that?
bar.
Have you seen that Vine or YouTube
Yes.
video where it's like
Yes.
Bethesda games and it's just like it keeps hitting the wall, hits all of the chairs and stuff as he walks in.
Yep. Like I
That's
wanted
great.
that out of it. Like how far are you going to push this video game thing?
Oh my god,
And
that'd be
I wish they
hilarious.
would have pushed it farther.
Yeah, I mean, like, or just like I can understand introducing things that might take him away from the main goal, but not as a like, all right, the film just completely changed tracks and we're going in this direction now, but more of like a side quest. Like, hey, if you want to, you can go do this thing real fast and, you know, then go back to the main goal. And so he has these options of like, how do I want to approach this? I think even something like that might have been neat. Of like, do I want to help the kid who came here, who I just like on a whim offered a job to, not really thinking about it? Do I want to help out? Do I want to help out Duke since he's been my best friend?
Yeah, there are like
for a while?
side quest options throughout the show, and I like throughout the movie, and I like that the rules establishes like, yeah, there are mini games. Every time you have to go and catch Diane Lane's cat and bring it back to her, that's a mini game.
Yeah, and like I like that stuff. I would almost want to see him catching that fish and having it be for one of those characters, in a sense. Not in a sense like, here, I caught you this big fish.
I caught you this delicious bass.
Yeah. but yeah, just like, hey, I'm gonna catch this fish, which is something that has been haunting me for a long time, and we're gonna use the money to help out your grandkids.
Yeah,
Duke. That's what we'll do. Or, hey, we're finally gonna get this this older woman that Matthew McConaughey's character keeps having sex with for more money. Like we're just gonna set you up in a nicer house so you don't have to do all of this stuff, you know. Or yeah, we're just gonna get you a new cat that like won't escape. You know
different
what I mean? Like,
cat. That's the solution.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Or like, you know, go sit down with that drunken old man at the bar and like, you know, find out how his life is going. That was another thing that I'm like, this has to be a plot point. Like, why?
Yeah.
He seems like a fairly self-centered guy. The fact that he sits down at the bar and he's like, and get a drink for that guy over there.
Yeah.
Like, what is this turning into? And it is just another one of those, like, almost mini games. It's just like a little accomplishment to tick off. Bought drink for other patron at bar. 100 gold coins.
Yeah. Achievement unlocked. Yeah, there's. I guess I don't know how else to really say it or critique it other than, yeah, it's two different stories jammed together and almost. I was originally gonna say, and neither one of them are really fleshed out in the sense, but I did like that first half, but
it does still kind of have that facade sort of feeling to it, but there's something there. Something else I want to say. The rule says nobody dies in this game, but it's part of the plot that Duke's wife has died. Like, you know, before I don't know how long before the story actually begins.
Thing.
Yeah, and I was kind of perplexed that was the only other mention of death throughout this story, and I wanted like, even if it was another example of, oh yeah, the shopkeeper woman, or, you know, Constance, like somebody else had somebody else that died. It was just weird that we had that one other example and we can't tell exactly how it fits in to the rules.
It's astounding because I guess I shouldn't say astounding. I was listening to a podcast last night, and they were talking about, I guess, E3 last year, and
Yeah.
how shortly after that, one of the people on the podcast went out to went out to Warsaw to visit a
Oh
game
yeah.
studio,
Hmm.
and they came back to the US and were going through customs in New York, which is where he was flying into. And the guy was like, "So, where are you returning from? What were you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I was in Warsaw visiting a video game studio." And the guy just looked baffled, like, video games? Like,
Oh.
I I thought only us and the Japanese made those. And it's just like, how do you not? And the guy was just like, yeah, no, that's a worldwide thing. Everyone makes them. Like, they make them in Africa. They make them in Europe. Like, it's just, how? How? And like, the video games are one of the most lucrative businesses, like business industries out there. They make a shit ton of money. Not that everyone gets paid like that, but the top execs make tons and tons of money. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the like highest grossing entertainment thing of all time by a long shot.
I'm glad you brought this up. I'm glad you brought up Grand Theft Auto. Throughout the beginning of the movie, before you've got that video game twist in there, there's this music that's always playing from Matthew McConaughey's like truck stereo.
Sure.
And it's the same, like, it's all the same type of music, this kind of New Orleans kind of like band, like sort of high energy, like, riverboat music. I'm bad at describing it, but it's kind of like that. I'm not a musically inclined person.
I'm getting,
but you get it, right?
Steamboat Willie vibes from what you're saying, and I know that's not what you mean.
Like, it sounds like just sort of like the New Orleans, like, big jazz band walking down the street. It's that kind of music. And that's playing around him all the time, like, really consistently. And sometimes it's weird against the setting, because it's, like, very high energy. Well, it makes sense for the setting on this tropical island. Sometimes it's weird for the tone, because it's very high energy music. Right. And it's just like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to put gas in my boat. And then da 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 da. So that's weird. But like the way this music was this constant bed throughout the background to everything, I think even before they introduced the video games, kind of reminded me of like the way soundtracks for Grand Theft Auto, like the one set in the 80s, is this very carefully curated playlist of 80s songs that are all supposed to match exactly what the setting is. Even if it's like, okay, we just murdered that guy. Girls just wanna have fun. Exactly. Or whatever it might be. There's lots of... It's such an incongruous thing to add into this movie, but there's some parts where I kind of see what work they were doing to set up the video games. Like, it is stuff like the interactions with the townspeople and the way the radio behaves.
Yeah. Even now that we mention Grand Theft Auto, the whole thing about Matthew McConaughey's character going to that woman to have sex and getting paid, like, hey, there's the sex mini game. You can go fuck this woman and get paid to do it. It's just like it's one of those things of just like, I don't think the people that made this film really understand what video games are outside of the bad things that they've heard of, like, oh, you can murder people, you can have sex for money, you can steal cars, you can do all these bad things. It's Grand Theft Auto. But there's also games like Fishing Simulator 19.
Yeah, and I would have liked there to be like a character creation bit where Matthew McConaughey's like, what do I do with my hair? Do I shave my beard? What shirt do I wear?
What eyebrows do I have?
Proportions of face width. Add tattoo.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I think we just keep going back to the same things of just
Yeah.
like, this is. I think they had two different ideas, or they started on one path, and then somewhere along the line, someone else came into the production and was like, "Hey, I have an idea," and then no one knew how to say no to them or something. So here's something else that I
Okay.
saw on on their
Mm.
Wikipedia page, trying to find out where exactly what it was. So down in their release section in marketing, apparently
Yeah.
a lot of the actors in this film complained about being very misled about the advertising and
Yeah.
the press junket. They were being told that like it was gonna have a much wider release. They were gonna be on a bunch of late night talk shows, stuff like that, and the studios were, I guess, screen testing this, and it wasn't getting very good
Yes.
feedback,
Yeah.
as you can tell by our podcast here. And
It's
and
not,
they
I'll
just,
say this, it's not good feedback, but it's special feedback.
well, that's one of the things that like all of the websites are saying about, like, this is a really really bad film, but it's almost one of those films that it's like, it's so bad you just have to watch it. It's so wild what happens
Yeah,
in
like
this
I
thing.
said, it's I've never had a film experience quite like this one, and I do really appreciate just how unique it is. That's
Yeah,
really worth something.
yeah, but they were kind of being told that, not that it was going to be a big thing, but there was at least going to be more
Yes.
advertising and more money behind it
Mhm.
to make it a bigger thing. And they barely spent any money on advertising. Like, you mentioned this, and I was like, I don't remember this film at all. Like, Matthew McConaughey? Like, I feel like I would know about a new film with
Yeah,
Matthew McConaughey
yeah,
and
I
Anne
saw
Hathaway. Like,
one trailer for this movie in the theater,
I
and I'm
did
trying to
too.
remember what movie I would have seen it in front of, because it must have been like, I don't
It
think I would have
when
seen
do,
it
when
before a
did this
superhero movie or
come out?
something. Earlier this year, I forget what month, but it is an
It
earlier
was released
2019
end of
film.
January, so maybe what did we see end of this, like December or
Oh,
January? There was no Star Wars this year, right? In
yeah, what
December,
was I
no.
going to see?
Mm, Captain Marvel? No,
No, wouldn't it Captain Marvel? The only movie I can think of, I can remember having seen this winter was the Lego Movie 2, and that's impossible.
I don't
They
know.
wouldn't put this trailer before the Lego Movie 2.
No,
There must be something I
not at
saw that
all.
I'm forgetting about.
I feel like it was a Marvel film. What did we do? Where's my phone? What did
When
we
did Us
do?
come out? Was it Us?
No, because it's something that I've seen, and I've mainly
Oh,
only
okay.
gone to go see stuff that we've done for
This is the
for
real
the reactor
mystery.
core.
Like,
Yeah.
what movie did we see this trailer in
Okay.
front of?
Let's see.
It must have
Oh
been something
shit.
from
Maybe
like
not, because
winter.
we had.
Like maybe something like October, November, December.
No, we're not. So because we had, unless.
Did I see this in front of
Let's.
Halloween? Did was the trailer
Uh,
out that early?
no. No. So we did Captain Marvel in March and Shazam in April. The last one before that was Ant-Man in July of 2018. So no,
Oh,
I don't remember what it must have been. Something that I went to go see on my own then, or I saw it on TV or something. I don't know, but yeah, like it. Oh no,
uh,
I was gonna say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was out in December, I think, but we didn't do
it
a
wouldn't.
thing
No,
on
it
that.
wouldn't
But
have been
I
in
don't
front
think it
of
would be
that
on
one.
that. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
This would bother me all week. What movie I saw this trailer in front of?
Yeah, I wonder if that's something we can Google.
What
What?
are just movies that
How do you
came out
even
last year? What did I go see?
movies? Did the trailer for Serenity play? Excuse me. Play on or at? At. That even something I can Google? I don't even
I
know.
I wish that was something we could look up.
Oh well. Um, but yeah, I just thought it was fascinating that the studio knew it was going to be a not so great film.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of was like, all right, well, we're not going to spend any money on this. Apparently, it only made $11.4 million worldwide.
That ain't much.
That is not much at all. It cost them, oh goodness, against a production budget of 25 million, so it didn't even make half of it
Oof.
back. But yeah, just like it's fascinating to see something like that happen, where they get such a great cast.
Mm-hmm.
They get a writer and director who's competent at, he's
Yeah,
good at what he does. It's not like this was a big risk per
exactly.
se. I
Yeah,
think
like this.
25 million to make a film is actually small
Yeah,
nowadays.
this does not seem like a risk at all up until the twist.
Yeah, and then they buried it. And I can understandably see why Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway would just be mad. And I'm just like, why? Like, sure, this film may not be the greatest, but just like, why would. Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
I have a feeling that this could live on as a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there will definitely be
I don't know. But yeah, I
like
see
I
what
can see
you're
this
getting
being
at.
a movie where people will be like, "Oh my god, I have to show this to people. Here, come over. I have to show you this movie called Serenity." No, not the spaceship one. Like this will be something people will like show to each other. Like I don't know if it'll ever reach like we're going to the midnight movie to see Serenity and we all have the lines we yell at the screen in response to their lines.
It's not
I
going to be
don't think
that.
it's going to get there, but it will have. I feel like 3 years from now, if you mention this again, you will
It's
find
I
people who
feel
have
like
watched
it's
it and
gonna
remember
be
it.
good fodder for exactly what we did here, where we're like,
Yes.
hey, let's watch a movie with a really bad twist and talk about it and have fun, just like sitting here being like, man, I have no idea what they were thinking. What
Yeah, like
happened on this
it'll be
film?
it could be remembered the same way people remember like Sleepaway Camp or something like
I
that.
don't even know that one, but
Oh,
yeah,
dang. Sleepaway Camp is this extremely low budget horror movie from the 80s
that's why
that
I
does
don't know
have
what
this
it is.
big, insane, complicated twist in it. And again, I don't think that's like exactly cult status, but it's something people will like seek out and watch. Like, okay, time to watch the bonkers train wreck that is Sleepaway Camp. I have done it. I tried to make
Yeah,
friends sit through Sleepaway Camp with me. So for me and others like me in the future, Serenity will live on.
yeah,
Can't stop the signal.
wild. Melissa, do you have anything else you want to talk about with this film?
I don't. Yeah, we've spent the entire time just on the actual twist. I don't know if I have very much to say about anything beyond it. I really liked all Anne Hathaway's outfits.
Yeah,
I like the production design of the movie. Like I said, it's
it
nice looking.
looks fantastic.
You're in
Yeah,
a lot of like Matthew McConaughey lives in a old shipping container shack basically. Like you're in a lot of settings that
the
aren't like
inside feels so lived in though.
yeah.
His house looked neat.
Yeah, like they aren't all like places you want to be, but it is admirable. Like everything does feel very lived in. And at
Yeah.
the end of the movie, where the boy does like he leaves his room and he is actually going to personally murder his stepfather, like he opens the door, he steps out into the hall, and you just see the hallway for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, dang, what a well designed hallway. I want to see what the rest of this
A
house
whole
looks like.
new world.
Like there's a lot of craft and detail in this movie. Just in very interesting,
Yeah.
weird places.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I just yeah. And then there's
It's
the twist.
yeah, it's I do think it is
Is
worth
let me
watching and it's worth talking about. Like definitely watch this with somebody else. That's the real joy of it. Like have some friends over, get some drinks, get some popcorn, like
yeah.
just all watch the thing together in one big group yelling. This is going to be a good party movie, I think.
Uh yeah.
For certain types of parties. Parties I like where that is the point. Let's all yell at a movie together.
So here's a question I want to ask about the
Yeah.
film, but it's a very small one. The character's name is Baker Dill, or at least that's what he
Yeah.
goes by. Why? Is that a reference to something? Because when Anne Hathaway comes in, she when she says like I tried looking for you, but you're not on Facebook, but there's this one picture and it looks exactly like you, but the guy said your name was Baker Dill, not what your actual name
His
is. I
name is
forget what his name
John
was.
Mason. She mentions that
But then she
that
says
was
that was a dead giveaway. As in that was a big, like, that is somehow a reference to something you really like, or they
yeah,
like
yeah.
should I know what that is?
No, I don't think it's not a real world reference. Within the movie, they went to school together. That was like his favorite professor was Dylan Baker. She's like,
Oh, okay.
"Oh,
I
when
missed
you
that
needed a
line.
new name, you named yourself after your favorite old teacher."
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, who should that, is that some like
Yeah, is this a
reference to
poet?
some, yeah, a poet or a literary character that I should know from like to like
No, no,
I
it's
don't
just
know. I
within the
just
world of the film. And then at the
okay.
end, like the boy, like that's his principal that always supported him. Like, what a bright young man, so great at math and computers.
Yeah, the school I guess knows he's gifted. He's a fucking prodigy, making all
Yeah,
of these
it's
computer games by himself. They're doing the art, the program, like that stuff takes years to make by yourself.
especially,
Years.
and you really have to wonder, did he imagine, like, did he program consciously, type in, go to command, dad has sex with older woman for money? Or did, like, he create
He's
such a
he's a
rich,
he's a young 13-year-old
if
boy.
the,
He's
or if the
exploring.
if the AI is rich enough to fight back against the new programming, did he code his dad so authentically that just of his own coding, of his own volition, he went boning around that
He's like,
island?
man, my dad was one sexy dad.
DILF simulator.
DILF Simulator 2019.
I
Yes.
guess dad who would like to fuck. Dwilf.
Dwelf. Dwelf 2. In stores 2020. Goodness, great. Like, this is a wild film.
Are you glad you watched it at the end of the day, looking back on this experience? Like if
It was
somebody
fun to
said,
sit here and,
yeah.
talk about it. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I would make anyone else watch it, but I think it would at least come up in conversations of like, hey, if you're into like
Yes.
this, if you're into watching movies that go really wrong or really bad films or something like that, like this, I think would come up in the
Yeah.
conversation. Like, dude, you need to watch this one. Wild.
Final note, I knew this was such a recent movie, like I didn't know like where I was going to be able to find it. So I'm like,
Mhm.
this is new enough I could just go to Redbox. Like there's a Redbox at my local grocery store. So I go there and there's already a family there at the Redbox. It's like, well, okay, I'll go get my couple groceries and then I'll come back and use it on my way out. And I get back there and they're still there.
Oh
So
goodness.
like not once but twice I ran into competition at the Redbox. And I had no idea people were
Did you
still
fight
like,
them?
no, I just waited patiently. But I'm like, I had no idea Redbox was popular enough that twice I would try to use it and somebody would be there, and
My
I would have to wait for Redbox access.
This is the weird thing. There's certain people out there that are just so up to date on the latest technology. They have everything digital. They know everything that's happening. And then there are some who just like still use the Netflix DVDs and have them mailed to their house. It's just
Maybe
like,
maybe they like the special features. Like that's also why I kind of wanted to get a disc of this. Also, like it was like the end of the workday, and I'm like, oh, I have to watch Serenity tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna like. I don't want to go home, search through my Roku, and my Roku can't find it anywhere. Or it's like, well, you can buy it for $5. Like I'll just go to the Redbox, and it's like $1.50.
get
Like
it
this
for a
is my
buck, yeah.
cheapest option. And I'm like, maybe this disc is gonna come with features. It came with absolutely none. It didn't even have captioning, which was very frustrating.
Ooh, yikes, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's like nuance to the dialogue I might have missed because I just can't hear it over like the sound of the ocean or something like that.
Yeah. But it's not strange to use Redbox and stuff, but I think what struck me as odd was just that they were there for so long. Like you went and did other errands, and
It was just like, well, I guess
deciding...
I'll get deodorant while I'm here at the store or something like that. Like it was a very quick turnaround. But yeah, like they were there for at least 5 solid minutes. This family selecting a film.
Like I mean, I guess it is a family. They might hit a path. They have it's not just me who's being there. Like, all right, I don't want to watch that one. I'll go with that one. It's like
I don't know who goes there to browse.
Or 4 people to be
I
like.
figured everybody would just go there with a goal.
I want to watch something like this, so that means we can't watch that. But that person does want to watch that. So what do we do? Wild stuff. Melissa.
Yes.
If you had to recommend something else, if people liked this, or if you want to see other things similar or stuff that does it better, what would you recommend?
If you do want another bonkers twist, check out Sleepaway Camp. I am going to say the twist of this movie because I think it's something I never hear anybody talking about, and I wish people did. Several years ago, there was a movie released called The D Train, wherein the plot of it was Jack Black was like this normal suburban PTA dad, and his high school was coming up on their like 20-year reunion. And another classmate from that same high school, played by James Marsden, had gone off and become this big actor. And since then, I think he's like fallen on hard times. He's doing like commercials now. Like he's not the big star he once was, but he's still like a huge star to his high school. So Jack Black, who's on like the reunion committee, he has to go out to Hollywood and try and get James Marsden back to this high school reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like a buddy road movie, whatever.
Sure.
Me and my friends were like flipping through movie channels one night and we caught part of this. The two of them have sex in that movie.
Jack Black and James Marsden? Wow,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not like a massive plot twist. It's just one of the things that happens along the way trying to get him back to this high school reunion. And like, nobody is mentioning this. Nobody outside of me and like 3 other people seem to be aware that happened.
Yeah. Group who I watched it with. No one is talking about this.
Like, I just want that knowledge out there in the world. Just be aware of it.
I feel like a changed man because of that. So I think I mentioned it last week when you pitched these films and was just like, I'm gonna pitch this stuff with twists, and I was like, oh boy, I just watched this Korean film and it was wild.
Whoa.
It's a Korean film. It's on Netflix called Forgotten.
Okay.
And I put it on my Netflix queue because I saw one of the main actors in that film is an actor on a Netflix original show. It's also a Korean one, but it's one that I like. And it is this psychological thriller about a brother. It's this family, and there's 2 brothers. One of the brothers gets kidnapped and is missing for like a couple months, and then all of a sudden just shows back up but doesn't remember a thing.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, it's this like trying to figure out what is happening, what's going on, you know, stuff like that. And it's a psychological thriller. So I was like, oh, that sounds good. I'm going to put that on my queue. Melissa, this went in 30 different directions.
Oh,
this
boy.
was wild.
Sounds
at times,
intriguing to me. Yes.
At times, it's a horror film.
Okay, I like those.
At times, it's a crime film. At times, it's this like action film. At times, it is this like a cycle. It goes everywhere.
Okay.
And it's just like, who greenlit this? This is wild. Like we said that that Serenity was like 2 different sandwiches smushed together. Mm-hmm. This is like 5, like all smushed together.
This is like a sampler platter of appetizers, but you took each appetizer from a different restaurant.
Yeah, and it has a big like reveal twist. Like this is what's actually happening here, and it's wild. Wow. And yeah, and at times it's a sad like emotional drama. It's just like this goes everywhere. It's crazy. But it's not a good film. It's just like it's so like it's a spectacle to just watch this thing.
Sometimes that's what you want. You don't care about quality. You just care about like, how different is this? Yeah. How much is this going to spice up my bland weeknight?
Yeah, and so the thing with that one is I felt like each different genre that it became, it's actually doing it fairly well. It's just the idea that there's so much packed in here that it's just like you just get overwhelmed and bombarded, and it's like, I just stop, no, what is this? So that is Forgotten. I also, so I'm not a huge fan of it, but I would also recommend Sword Art Online, which is an anime.
But if you want a more legitimate story about people being in a video game,
yeah, if you want something like that, there's not much of a twist. Personally, I ended up not liking that show. Because there was one thing that was really fascinating and they just didn't mention it, didn't talk about it. And this show ended up becoming something else. But yeah, it's this new virtual reality game, and everyone puts on their headsets and they go inside this game, and every one of them gets locked in there in this game. They can't exit the game, and they have to like beat it. And that will unlock it. But it's one of those things, if you die in the game, you die in real life and all of this stuff.
The only way to do it.
Yeah. And it's a fantasy RPG, so they like there's characters who are mages and some who are paladins and you know and stuff like that. So it is a lot more video gamey in that sense. But yeah, if you want something that maybe focuses more on video games, I feel like that's something to check out.
Okay.
There you go. It is my turn, Melissa.
It's pitch time.
To pitch some things. I have 2 mangas.
Oh.
And a good old-fashioned superhero comic.
Oh.
It's been a while since we've done manga.
It has been.
It just in the variety that we get, sometimes we don't just do good old-fashioned super.
Yeah, it's been a while for those too.
Stuff, yeah. So that's what I wanted to do. Pitch number 1 is a manga called Baron, 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 and this is available on Comixology Unlimited, and it says. Naromi Itsuki is a giant of a young man whose huge stature has earned him the nickname Baron. His peaceful everyday life is thrown into disarray when a flying saucer suddenly appears before him and his friend Yoko. As the two try to meet as the two try meet with, okay, that doesn't make sense, they wrote this wrong.
They tried meat, they just go get some kebabs.
As the two try to meet with what is this even saying? As the two are met with various odd encounters, could it be that the UFO is the one tying all these strange events together? Baron. And I say we check out the first 3 volumes.
Okay.
Of that.
What kind of story would you say that is? Is this more of like a sci-fi adventure? Is it a little comedic? Is it light?
I would say, let's see what this classifies it as. From what I understand from the premise, it's almost like slice of life.
Okay,
but
that's what I was wondering, because I know that shows up often in manga.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just like let's see, what is it? Where am I? Genres: action, adventure, drama, manga. Manga is not a fucking genre.
No, it isn't.
And science fiction. I hate when things do that. Comicsology does that, which shame on them. They should be better about that. And Hulu does it, where it's like you can browse by genre, and one of them is anime. It's like that's not a genre. You have
to have a more refined coding than that. Like, as long as it is sub varieties.
You can have mystery manga. You can have horror manga. Those are the genres. Come on, you guys. But yeah, so that's pitch number 1. That's Baron. And it is written by Rokuda Noboru. Written and drawn by Rokuda Noboru. There you go. Pitch number 2 is the good old-fashioned superhero comic I was mentioning. Quantum and Woody. Volumes 1 and 2. We have never done a comic published by Valiant on his show. So I wanted to read something from Valiant. It says, once upon a time, Eric and Woody Henderson were inseparable. Adopted brothers, best friends, brilliant minds. Years later, they are estranged siblings, petty rivals, and washed-up failures. But when their father's murder leads them into the throes of a life-altering scientific accident, Eric and Woody find themselves with a whole new purpose and a perfectly legitimate reason to wear costumes and fight crime. Go big or go home, folks. Quantum and Woody are coming. And yes, there is a goat.
Yeah, I just Googled this. I see that there is a goat, and I also see that Volume 1 is titled The World's Worst Superhero Team.
Yes. So I wanted to read the first 2 volumes of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it says these guys are the worst. So that should be a lot of fun. I think I read the first volume of this, or the first issue or something years ago, and I didn't really continue with it, and I don't remember. Because I at one point was like, I'm gonna read a lot of Valiant comics and see what all they're about, because they have their own superhero universe similar to Marvel and DC and all that stuff, where it's all a big shared world. And I think this was one of the ones next up on my list of things to read.
Okay.
Quantum and Woody, volumes 1 and 2. And pitch number 3 is Initial D. And Takumi spends a lot of time behind the wheel of his car. His tofu delivery job sends him racing down the treacherous roads of Mount Akina, and without even realizing it, Takumi has mastered racing techniques that most drivers take a lifetime to learn. Of course, none of his friends realize this. They are too busy watching the Akina Speed Stars, the local street racing team. When the legendary Red Suns show up to challenge the Speed Stars, it looks like the Torino 86 that has been seen racing through the mountain roads. Let's see. This is also one I don't think they wrote this right. It looks as if the Torino 86 that has been racing through. Yeah, it just ends. That's not it. Okay. The question remains: who is the driver of this phantom car? So this is also available on Comixology Unlimited, and I wanted to read the first 3 volumes of this as well.
Okay.
So we got Street Racing Tokyo Drift manga in initial D. We have the world's worst superhero team in Quantum and Woody, and we have Baron, which he slice
He's
of
tall.
life interrupted by aliens.
I do feel bad we have not done a manga in a long time, but I am so intrigued by Quantum and Woody. Like, I love superheroes. I love like disastrous families trying to put themselves together. I'm intrigued by this goat. I'm intrigued about what makes them the worst superhero team. And I have heard Valiant comics coming up a lot, and I also am completely clueless about them.
Okay.
So I think it's time I get at least a little part of what that world is like.
Sure. Sounds good. We will read Quantum and Woody volumes 1 and 2. Both of these are available on Comixology Unlimited, and I believe even more volumes of it are as well. There's actually a lot of Valiant comics on there, so you guys can go check it out if you want on your own time. But yeah, that is what we'll be up to for this next week.
Okay.
Melissa, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
I am at Yo Kyle Springer on both Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want updates with this podcast or any of our other ones, we are at The Whatnauts on Twitter. The is where you can get more information. You can find all of our shows. But the patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us and get those shows early. Get access to the live streams of this show, get exclusive content, and even get your name read out on the show as a thank you. That being said, we'll be back next week with Quantum and Woody Volumes 1 and 2. We will see you then. Adios, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out that episode of the Whatnauts review show. What did you guys think of that twist in Serenity? Oh my goodness, wild stuff. Let us know in the comments below. If you liked it, go subscribe to our channel right up here. That would help us out a ton. Go watch one of our other videos down there. It might be another podcast, one that is not the review show. Who knows? But we hope you guys check it out because that would mean a lot to us. Thank you. Love you. Bye.